All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you for hopping on. I'm really, really, really excited about this call because I love this lady. I messaged her earlier. I was like, am I saying your last name right? So this is Jen. I was just call her Jen B, but is it Barbalia? Did I say it right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, do people mess it up all the time?
All the time.
All the time. Because there's a
All the time.
silent G in there. So anyways.
Yeah. My husband's nickname is Bags. That's what they called him in high school because it was bar bags and then bags. So yeah, everyone messes it up. I had a really easy last name before I got married.
What was your last name?
Ross. I was Jen Ross.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's a little bit
anymore.
Well, I'm excited because I have admired Jen since the moment I became a coach. She's got so much spunk in life, and she has 3 kids, right? You have 3, correct? And they're all teenagers now?
All teenagers now.
Yep. And she just rocks this business in her own way. And I love that she works outside of the home. So she works this in the cracks of her day, and she's made it sustainable. How long have you been a coach?
I've been a coach 3.5 years.
3.5 years. Yeah. And so she's done a great job of inspiring people along the way. And she's just, I always like look at her posts. I'm like, oh, she's so beautiful. How can she have teenagers and look so young? But I just know that you guys are going to learn a lot from her because she's going to talk to us about how she's going to give us her top tips on how to create a sustainable business as a side hustle. So I think this is applicable to any of us, even if we don't work outside of the home, because even if we work inside the home, right, that's a side hustle.
This is a side hustle.
And so this is what we were meant to do. And so she has some great practical tips to share with us. And so I hope you have your notes ready to go, your notepad out, ready to go. And we get to hear from her. So Jen.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so flattered that you asked me to do this. Like she said, my name's Jen Barbalia. I've been a coach for 3.5 years. It took me about 10 months to get to Diamond because I took this really slow and steady. And I think that's kind of been almost my philosophy behind the whole business. And the way I run it is slow and steady wins the race. I am in another season of life while a lot of my coach colleagues are in toddlers and diapers, and I have 3 teenagers. So I am very busy. I'm in the car all the time, and I'm worried about periods and proms and boyfriends and all these other complicated issues. And it gets really stressful and hectic. So this is like my one thing that's for me. And helping people is almost like my therapy. And I'm a people person. I get my energy from other people. So this has just been a really good fit for me. I signed up as a coach after I turned 40. I had gained about 15 pounds sitting behind a desk at my corporate job. I had my dream job, I thought, working for an action sports company called Fox Racing. I'm sure you've heard of the brand. But their corporate headquarters was actually in this little small town in the Bay Area that's right next to my little small town. So I got this job as an HR manager, and then it became incredibly stressful as the company moved to Southern California, and I had to lay off over 100 employees who had been with the company probably 25 years. So it was a lot of lunches out, a lot of nights coming home, pouring myself into a bottle of wine. It was just a very, very unhealthy place in my life. And I spent an entire year celebrating with all my girlfriends because we were all turning 40. And by the end of the year, I didn't even recognize myself. None of my clothes fit. I was going to a gym every day. Nothing was working. I had a trainer, but that trainer wasn't keeping me accountable the other 23 hours of the day. So I had been there a long, long time, and I had only lost a pound, and I was so upset. So when a friend of mine was posting on Facebook about 21 Day Fix, I knew I wanted to try it because it had not only the workout component, but the nutrition, and I knew I needed something a little more structured in my life. And so it came at the perfect time. And then, of course, I dove right into the challenge groups. I was that rock star challenger. I just loved it. No one in my house gave a flying flute if I got my workout done or not. But here were all these ladies telling me, good job, keep going. So I just fell in love with it. And then when my coach asked me if I wanted to become a coach, of course I said no. But then I thought, oh, what the heck? It sounds like fun. Like, let me try it out. And then my real why came. I'm I was able to transition to a job part-time. And we can pay the bills. It's fine. We don't get to do a lot of extras because I went part-time. And I get the blues so badly during the summertime when my kids are sleeping in and I have to go to work. So I can remember this clear as day. It was Father's Day weekend. We were at my parents' house, everyone's swimming, and I started to get the Sunday blues because I had to go back to work the next day. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is like a gold mine I'm sitting on. Like, what am I doing? And so that is when I went semi all in as a coach and really pushed for Diamond. And so that's kind of my story. My why is changing because I'm pretty comfortable in my day job. Like, it's pretty relaxed, and I actually get some of my Beachbody work done throughout the day. But my daughter is going to be a senior in high school next year. And so college is right around the corner, and that scares the crap out of me financially. So my why has definitely changed. I'm not sure if I will give up my day job, but I know I need to keep pushing myself harder. So that's my why. My day job is manageable. How I organize my day is like Power Pockets, like most people do. I wake up at around 5:30 in the morning, and that's like my quiet coffee time. And then I start checking my messages, and I jump right into my to-do list. I do my personal development in the car on the way to work. I have about a 20-minute commute. So I'll do it in the morning. Sometimes I do it on the way home too, but I listen to Audible. And so that's where I get my personal development in. And then I just work in Power Pockets throughout the day. I do work a little bit in the evening, but that's how I get it done. And you guys are so lucky that you have Margot as your fearless leader, because when I signed up, my coach was actually a part-time hobby coach that got extremely lucky finding she was able to pop at least 3 or 4 diamonds. But she wasn't ingrained in the business. She didn't understand how the business works. So when I would ask her questions, she didn't know how things worked. So what I had to do for myself is plug into the Hard Hitters page for all of my training, create a relationship with my upline, who was Kelly at the time. And, I watched every YouTube video. I followed all these top coaches on Facebook and later on Instagram. And that's kind of how I educated myself on the business. So that's how I organize my day. I'm a pen and paper girl. I just have lists of people that I keep going back to every month. I have conversations with people every month. And if it's not right for them, I follow up with them the following month. My workout happens every day when I get home from work. I'm off by 2. I pick up my kids from school, come home, change, get them settled, energize, work out. So my workout's done before dinner time, for sure. So my top tips on building a sustainable business as a side hustle. I'm going to go over those. And then I found this old school graphic in the Hard Hitters page that's like probably 2 or 3 years old that I'm going to share with you. And I always go back to this when I feel like I'm in a funk or I feel like someone in my team is in a funk. So I'll go over that with you at the end. But my number one philosophy and tip is that you can work this business part-time, just not sometime. You have to show up every day. You can't work it only when you feel like it. It's not going to keep your momentum steady enough. And you can't dabble. This is only going to work if you're building that momentum steadily, every single day. And one other point I want to add, if you're doing this as a side hustle, you have to really keep your emotions in check. And everyone's going to run into this if you have another full-time or part-time job, is you have to really keep your, can you say that again? I don't know what what was I saying?
I'll just ask you the part where you said, you can work it part-time, but not
some of the time.
Some of the time. Got it.
Yep.
All right, keep going.
You really have to check your emotions at the door and check yourself, because I'm sure everyone goes through this. You want this Beachbody business to work so bad that you start resenting your other job. You start resenting your boss. You start resenting the time that you're putting in to this other thing that you're not as passionate about. But unfortunately, that's what's paying my bills. So when I feel myself going into that funk, I really have to check my emotions and, concentrate on work and then concentrate on my side business when necessary. Okay, tip number 2 is success isn't just from one nugget. It's doing all those little things consistently. There's so many moving parts in coaching. And I got to be honest, when I started and I heard about the Power Hour and the vital behaviors and personal development, I was like, this is corporate mumbo jumbo. I don't need that. I can figure out how to make this work. And it's not until I dove into all those things that all of these moving parts came together. So don't dismiss any of that. It's not corporate mumbo jumbo. It is tried and true, tested systems that work. And that is why we are taught that way, because they do work. So, working your 4 vitals, showing up for social media daily, doing your Power Hour every single day, all these little consistent things over time are going to build success. Tip number 3 is follow a plan. I think it was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 summers ago, when Josh Coates came on the scene and he started doing some training for Beachbody coaches. And when I stick to the posting plan that he recommended, I typically see them. Okay, it's going to get really loud, and I'm sorry. I got dogs and kids, and I find my most successful months are when I follow those specific posting plans. And I'm sure you've heard about it. Do your Transformation Tuesdays, Women Crush Wednesdays, your Throwback Thursdays, a Flex Friday and a Motivation Monday. And then on Sunday, I usually do a call to action post for coaching. And one other thing that's really helped me over the past year is getting really comfortable in using other people's transformation stories as well. On your social media, make sure it's okay to use that story. Reach out to your other team members or anyone on Hard Hitters if you see like a really great transformation photo or a story. Get really comfortable asking for those and using those, because we tell our own story over and over, but when people love before and afters, you guys, they dig it. So if you're using not only yours, but other people's, it just adds more credibility to our programs. And then facts tell, stories sell. Never stop telling your own story. I could give you facts. I could say, my Energize is plant-based, and I could list all the ingredients in Shakeology. No one's going to care. They're going to care, and they're going to get engaged with your story. So never stop telling your story. Okay. So tip 3 was follow a plan. Tip 4 is you're going to get your heart broken. You're going to get your heart broken in this business. I've gotten it broken before. I've had friends who I thought would be awesome, fall off and quit. I've had, rock star challengers who would make the best coach say no over and over and over. I've had coaches who are hitting Success Club 10 Emerald just fall off because something happened in their life and they just quit. So just know that you're going to get your heart broken, but you have to keep panning for gold. About a year and a half ago, Chelsea Pearson did the National Wake Up Call, and she talked about you just need to find 3 power partners to make this whole thing work. You need to find those 3 people who are just like you. So, and I don't know if I heard this from her, if I heard this from a book I read, but if I told you that there were 3 bricks of gold in your backyard, you would never stop digging until you found those gold bricks. Just keep digging and digging and digging. Keep sifting through the people. Keep sifting through the sand until you find your golden nuggets, because they're going to be out there. And that's, when I get discouraged, I have to remember that. Like, just keep digging. There's another Margot out there. There's another me. There's someone out there who wants to join you and do this as badly as you do. Okay, tip number 5. Ask yourself this question. Would you rather be in a store selling a product or the owner of that franchise? I live in California, so we have Togo sandwich shops. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Togo's. It's kind of like a Subway. I like this analogy because I have a family member who owns a franchise business. So would you rather be the kid behind the counter making the Togo sandwich, or the one who owns the franchise? The one who, yes, puts in more time, has more responsibility, has a lot of weight on their shoulders, but their return on their investment is so much more. You guys, our investment in this business was about $140. What if you treated this business like you invested $140,000? How much harder, how much more heart and effort and love and sweat and tears would you put into it every day? Just because we had a small investment doesn't mean that we shouldn't be investing that time back into our business. I have notes. So when you take on more responsibility, you'll get more return on your investment. And I just like that analogy. My cousin owns a sandwich shop, and I think about her and how much work and love she puts into that business. You know, when she's slapping her sandwiches together, it's like her life. And that's how I feel about my coaches and my challengers. Okay, last tip. When you hit a valley or a funk, stay coachable. Really use your failures to push yourself forward. And I give myself a 24-hour window. If something crappy happens in my business, someone quits, I didn't make Success Club, or, you know, I thought that challenger was going to sign up and they said, no, I'm going to go with someone else. If anything happens like that, I give myself a 24-hour window to have my little pity party, and then I get back to work. When I hit diamond, I gave myself a 24-hour window to celebrate, but I knew if I stayed in that moment in the celebrating phase, I wouldn't be successful, because you have to keep working. People are going to cycle through. You're going to have coaches join your team and leave your team. So you always have to keep moving forward and use those failures to push you forward. And then lastly, when you find yourself in those valleys or in those funks, and I'll share this, I'm sure, Margo, you've probably seen this before, but I'll send it to you when I'm done. I actually printed it out at work so I could read it to you. So this is a self-evaluation chart. And so one column says what I think, and the other column says what I should ask myself. So in the first column, why do I feel so blah? Okay. Are you doing personal development daily? Second, why haven't I hit Success Club? Then you have to ask yourself, how many conversations have I started this month? Number 3, why is she so much farther along than me? You're on your own journey, but what can you learn from her? Number 4, I'm messaging like crazy. Why is no one committing? Then you have to ask yourself, is there a better way I could be saying these things? Reach out to your upline, reach out to Margo and say, hey, I'm having these conversations. This is how it's going. You know, should I be saying this differently? Next one, my posts are getting crickets. We've all been there. Then you have to ask yourself, am I being consistent on social media daily? You know, are you posting at the same time every day? Is that when your market's watching Facebook? Are you continuing to build that momentum on your social media? You have to try a bunch of different things and build that up. The next one, why haven't I rank advanced? Well, ask yourself, how many people have you presented the business to this month? Last one, my body has stopped making changes. Ask yourself, when's the last time you started a new program? And I would add, from start to finish and following it to a T. And that, you guys, that is gold. We're going to go through so many transformations in this journey, but if you start a new program from start to finish and follow it to a T because you are going after those after photos, bam, you have a whole new story to tell. So I'll send this to you guys so you can see it, but that's basically it.
That was so good. I've never seen that self-evaluation chart before. Yes, please send it to me, because that's amazing.
Yeah, it's like an old school one. I think it was done on Rona. It's silver and black. It might have even been from TKO. It's old, but I'll send it to you.
Send it to me. I'll post it on the team page. But yeah, that was so good. I feel like there was speaking of like golden bricks, I feel like you had so many golden like truth bombs in there. Like so good. I love so much of what you said. And first of all, I love that you like educated yourself, even though you didn't have a strong upline. You just went, and I feel like sometimes that makes us stronger when we have to search for answers, you know, like I just see that in you. But I love that golden brick analogy. You're so right. Like I love that. You're right. Because I mean, I would, if you told me there were 3 bricks in my backyard, I would be out there probably digging through the night. Because I'm like, well, this could help pay for kids' school. This could do this, you know. I mean, that's so true. And we've been given such a gift, and we can keep digging. We can keep finding people month after month with momentum, like you talked about, and consistency. I love that. And I've heard that before, but it was such a good reminder about facts tell, stories sell. Because it's true. No one wants to see like stock photos on our, you know, on our pages. They want to see our story and our journey and our transformation, even if it's not sharing always about the physical, but just emotionally how we've been changed too, you know, which is so cool. It's so good. I loved all of that. Does anybody have any questions for Jen? I feel like I have so much to soak in. It was great. Anybody have any questions or anything?
It was so fun doing that because I actually was digging through some of my old team calls, like to see what I could talk about. And so that was a really fun exercise for me to go back and look at things I've talked about with my team that I haven't talked about in a long time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it was so good. And the other thing I wanted to mention was when you were talking about letting failures push you forward, like, and I love how the checklist can play into that too, because it's so easy in this business, especially if you're not in personal development, even when you are, to keep your head above water and think, why is this working for someone else and not for me? But you kind of go back and evaluate those things. Like that feeling of failure doesn't mean you failed. It just means you need to reevaluate like how you've been doing it, you know, which is so helpful.
I look back at this one a lot, or I'll post it in my team page a lot when I start hearing words like, I'm in a funk. I feel like I'm starting over. Like when my coaches tell me that, then I'm like, oh, where's that thing?
Yeah, so good. Yeah, I want to put that up in the team page because that's so great, and I need it too. So
we all do.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're so busy, and I feel like there's so much that I'm going to make sure that people get the recording because I feel like it was just so practical. Everything you shared was really practical and doable.
Good.
So, thank you.
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, and thanks for jumping on, Katie and Brooke. And hope everybody has a really good weekend.
Yeah, I'll see you next week.
I know. We're going to see her in Mexico. We're going to be in Mexico together, so it's going to be fun on the SC trip. So, yay. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for jumping on.
Good night, guys. Bye.